Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Man, please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show.
I'm not gonna say
Tell the
his
truth.
name.
All right, everybody. I've got my man, the Black Outkast is coming on. I will be getting him up here in just a moment. I hope everybody is doing well on this Saturday. Show. Okay, everybody, this is Information Man. This is going to be a great show today, a great program. We're going to get some great insight today. You know, a week ago, there was some technical problems that I was having, but now we got my man, Mark Black, back of the Black Outkast broadcasting, Black social media. Black voices are important, and he is coming back on here today. So I've sent out the link. The brother should be coming in very soon. I was on last night. Those of you who watched me last night, that was an interesting show because, you know, black people can't do anything in this society without some harassment by police, not even wearing a mask to protect yourself from coronavirus. So I'm going to chop it up with my man, Mark Black, as soon as he gets up here. Brother, if you're out there, I'll send you the link. Come on up, join the broadcast. Let's get into it. I see my brother in the background right now, and people will be coming in little step by the way. Let me give some shout outs to Back to the Basics. Check-in for one. Fashion of Life is in the house. And is that my man, the one and only Kujin87? Kujin, I'm going to send you an email today, brother, because I know we should have been doing something a long time ago together. We got DJ Moss in the house. Of course, Black Outkast Media's in the house, and I see him in the backstage. I'm going to bring him on and let us get into this discussion right now. So I thank everybody for being here, and let me bring the brother on right now. He's on the studio. How you doing, brother?
Brother, I'm alive and kicking. You know me, it'll take a little bit more than what's out here to take this old bird down. You know what I mean?
Right. We're gonna try this one more time, but I think this time we're gonna have all the gods on our side.
Yes, sir. It's looking good, by the way. Everything's looking nice, man. You sound perfect.
All right, cool. Yeah. I found out there was something going on with the wiring.
Yeah.
Called them out. They had to rewire. Something was backwards. My internet was operating in a backwards formation. So I got it fixed. And I'm just glad that we can go with clear, just clear everything nice and clear and get right to the point.
Absolutely.
So first of all, let me say to you right now, brother, thank you again for coming back following weekend. I know you're busy. You got family. You got things that you got to take care of.
Fam, it's my honor, man. Like, really, I esteem your work. I esteem you personally. Any opportunity I get to share some information, to learn, teach, I'm all in. So I appreciate you, man, for giving me the opportunity again to do this.
Oh, most definitely. So won't you go ahead and just do this, brother, to start off. Let everybody know who you are, introduce yourself, your channel. Once again, I got the description of your channel in this video, so people can click into the description, go into the description area of the video today. You can click in there and see description of his channel. I put a description, a little description from his channel based on his philosophy, what black media is, how he brands it, and why he comes up with the statements that he makes. So, brother, just let everybody know who you are. Give us a nice introduction of who you are, Brother Black.
All right, brother. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Mark Gillespie, but my nom de guerre, right? My name of war is Mark Black, also known as the Angry Black Sheep. I'm, of course, the facilitator, host, if you will, of Black Outkast Media. I have been broadcasting on YouTube now for about 5 years. Never had anything, like a major channel or anything like that, but I'm growing, and, God's known and unknown be praised. But the reason why I developed my channel was very simple. I noticed a trend among us as a people that we have a tendency to be very, I don't want to say judgmental, but we give real short shrift to people who don't automatically share our views. We tend to not engage in combat of ideas, but attacks on personalities. And so in the specific areas of social media that I tend to frequent, which is Black social media, I found that I've been outcasted a lot for some of the views I have, some of the ways I'm living, and so on and so forth. So what I did was I basically embraced the suck. I said, if I'm going to be an outcast, if I'm going to be considered a black sheep, then I might as well just go ahead and be the black sheep. And once I decided to embrace that and create my channel around that philosophy that we need a place in social media, Black social media, to explore ideas that are not comfortable to us, to have wars of words and combats of ideas rather than attacks on personalities, and to embrace, the fact that we may differ, but we're all still one people. So that's the philosophy kind of behind Black Outkast Media.
Okay, let me give a few praises in the chat room. I see we got my man Cap PY2 in the house. He's a veteran of the military, a brother knows how to survive, a survivalist. So definitely check out Brother Cap PY2. We got my man Art New Style TV in the house. He was showing you some love too, Brother Black.
Yeah, peace to Brother Art, man.
Yeah, Brother Art is the real deal.
For sure.
And then we got Water Baby and Tank are talking in the chat room. So we got people coming in little by little, and then we got Raw Black 59. Peace to you. Thank you for being here and what have you. So let's get into it, brother. There's a lot of questions I have to ask you. There's a lot that is going on in society today. There's a lot that has happened to black people in this society, even prior to the coronavirus, that we have been struggling with, we have been battling with. Right now, with coronavirus being the reality, what is your opinion? What are your thoughts? What have you and your analysis? What have you assessed as to what is the hell going on? Because as we talked a week ago, they have now made black people the face of this coronavirus. For whatever the reasons are, we can get into the details of that, but I want to get your opinion. What's happening with black folks right now in America, given this coronavirus?
I think that, in my humble opinion, I'm actually rather pleased.
Okay.
To a certain extent. Like, I'm not pleased about the deaths we're facing. I'm not pleased about any of that. So I'm going to make clear what's kind of got me, I won't say hopeful. I never have hope, but I'm developing a bit of optimism around. And that is that black people en masse, right? Not just those of us who have kind of been in this space for a while, but even people you wouldn't expect to really be engaged in the type of study and understanding and dialogue and stuff like that. A lot of black folk are finally waking up to the need to really nail down what the hell it is that we need to do next, right? Like, you're seeing people that I would just argue that have been status quo operators and supporters of,
Okay, I think I don't have you on the audio.
Oh, I'm sorry, fam. Can you hear me?
Come back in and out, because I think I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, how about now?
Not hearing you. Come back in. Leave and then come back in, brother.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, let's try that. Right, there's some problems on your audio. Thank you. So once again, they just don't want us to get information out to people. Man, I hate to get into conspiracy theories and all that type of talk, but there's something going on here. Okay.
How about now, fam?
Yeah, something happened when you started talking. It just, your voice just disappeared.
Okay.
There's just a lot of fishy stuff going on.
Do me a favor. Tell me kind of where the audio left off, because I'll continue from that point. I won't rehash what.
All right, brother, you might as well start from the very beginning, because the minute you started talking, that's when it went boom, no sound.
Got you. Well, I was saying that I'm actually pleased to a certain extent with what I'm seeing happening with black folk. Not the deaths, not any of that. But what is shocking me, I'll be honest with you, I did not expect this, is I'm seeing a lot of black people, even black people we normally expect to support the status quo, kind of the go along, the get along Negroes, that are actually put in the position now to have to ask some really hard questions, not just about what we faced up to now, what we're facing now, but what the new normal is going to look like moving forward. So that is giving me some degree of optimism. But with that said, what black people are going through is what we've all gone through. It's funny how it seems like generation from generation, as black folk, we tend to think that the worst that black folk can experience in this country happened to our ancestors, right? Because I'm an Xer, right? I look at the boomer generation, I said, damn, they lived under Jim Crow, where they had to drink out of separate water fountains and face lynchings and shit, right? But they looked at grandparents and parents' generations, where some of them were sharecroppers, some of them were slaves, and so on and so forth. So we have this kind of tendency to think that the worst that we have faced, or that we can face in this country, is in the past. And I think that this is an interesting wake-up call for us Xers, for the millennials, for Gen Z, and so on and so forth, who are black, to say, no, we have our own crucible that we're going to have to go through to be purified, to be qualified to stand up and speak on behalf of our people. Like, in other words, fam, we're facing our generation's challenge now. You see what I'm saying? Our problems, issues, oppression hasn't gone away. We just hadn't really necessarily gone through our crucible, and we're facing that now.
Well, okay, let me ask you this question. and I've been on panels talking about this. I think I was on BMT's panel. Why is it that we have to go through pain as a people to step up and do something? Because, and I'm gonna tell you where this comes from. This comes out of religion. A lot of us who have been raised in Christianity or just religion in general, we're taught that Jesus, we're taught that you can't have life without pain, sorrow. You have to have some type of struggle, some type of pushback on you to overcome things. And we're taught that through religion, when they talk about what happened to Jesus and all these various things that I think particularly black people, we've been conditioned by the church. That's why we're easy to be led by people who are false prophets. Yeah. Because they use that same cadence in their voice that the preacher does, where they repeat words 1,000 times and get you all hyped up. What is your thoughts about that?
Fam, I'm sorry, man, because this is such a deep question. I could literally go hours just discussing the ramifications, but for the sake of brevity, I'll try to keep my response to just a few points. I absolutely agree with you that religion plays a huge role in how it is that we tend to view the world, right? That it's a veil of pain. I remember when I was a boy, and I would get talked about or clowned on, and I come home crying to my mama, and she would say stuff like, boy, they talked about Jesus, harden up, suck it up, you be all right, right? Like, we are inculcated with that idea that pain is our lot, that suffering is what justifies us as black folk, right? So religion plays a huge role. But then you also have the aspect of a lot of the culture that we dragged kind of kicking and screaming off of the plantations. For example, black folk are still overwhelmingly in this country the ethnic group that still practices corporal punishment on their children, right? Even though with all the evidence we know that hitting kids doesn't really make them act any better and in fact causes them trauma. We got 50,000 different justifications why it's okay to hit kids, right? You know what I mean? And when you start asking these questions, Brother Clifton, you quickly come to see what you mentioned kind of in your last part of what you said is that we don't have an emphasis. Brother, I can't hear you now. Fam, can y'all still hear me? Like Papa one in the chat or something, because I'm not hearing Brother Clifton right now.
Let me see here.
I can hear you now, fam. Brother Clifton, can you hear me?
All right. We're having sound problems again. My God, I don't know why this is happening.
Brother, can you hear me?
I don't know why this is happening.
Okay, I'm gonna go and come back.
Yeah, do it again. I don't know why this is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know if you can hear what's going on. Golden Melanin. We got OG in the house, DJ Moss. Let me say peace to Peggy Roster, August Dreams, Cat PY2. Okay, something is going on. I don't know why. When you begin to talk, all of a sudden the audio goes out.
Damn.
I don't know, man. YouTube, man. I don't know if they're up to their tricks again, as my
I
man
feel
PY2
this
was
is
saying.
This is a conversation they don't want us to be having.
God, man.
But you know what? Hey, Brother Clifton, let's just press on, fam.
We're gonna press on.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead. So you get where I'm coming from with the religion has played a role on us. When you talk about black people with the spanking and all of that, well, that comes out of slavery, where they would punish us by whipping us, right? Yep. The word cracker comes from the whipping of the master of the whip. Yep. Cracker, the whipping of the crack of the whip. So that has played on our psyche, and we begin to project that onto our own children, onto each other.
Yeah.
That you must suffer to go forward. And so a lot of times you will hear people say, well, we're suffering now. So because we're suffering, it's time for us to stand up.
But you know
I've
what,
always
Brother
thought that
Clifton,
was weird.
There's one other piece too.
Yes, sir.
Because of that conditioning, our people have learned to equate love and affection with pain. You can see it in every interaction we have. Think about it. When we was kids, right? We bonded together by roasting each other or playing the dozens, as some people would call it. We intentionally set out to cause emotional pain to one of our own brothers and sisters just to establish that that we peoples, right?
Right.
We come together, we diss each other, we talk crazy to each other, and that is actually considered considered us being a part of each other. You see it in our relationships, right? You have these people in toxic romantic relationships where there's all this drama and bullshit going on, right? And when you ask them about that, they equate that drama and that bullshit with love, with I want you, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, the sickness goes pretty deep when it comes to our affinity for suffering. And one other thing that I think is salient in this particular matter is that we don't tend to give a lot of credence to asking questions.
Right.
Black folk are lovers, but we don't ask nearly enough questions. When we do ask questions, we tend to ask the wrong types of questions. Like, for example, you can get a group of black people together to ask why about something, right? We'll say why all day long, right? But most of the time, the information that we need in order to be able to formulate an effective response never comes from asking and or answering the question why. You need to look at hows, what's, who's, and so on and so forth. And those are questions that we don't tend to ask.
Well, let me say this right here. Look, Uncle Frank's made a statement here. Look, brother, I'm no stranger to being spanked. I'm a Gen Xer. They used to whoop our ass back in the day.
Like a motherfucker.
Some of you millennials don't know what an ass whipping is, really, because you've been pampered and you've been given participation trophies. If you grew up when I grew up, and this brother grew up, and people before us, of course, you don't know what an ass whipping really is. Now I'm not talking to you specifically, brother, Uncle Franks, because you might be of our age. Now, Uncle Frank said this. Now, don't get me wrong. We must discipline our children, right? But Uncle Frank says this. I disagree. I got one nephew that didn't get right until I put that belt to that behind. He got the picture real quick and developed a new sense of respect and real quick.
Now, there's so much to unpack in that. Like I said, fam, I could literally go for hours because this is actually one of the topics that I address a great deal on my channel. And again, shout out to everybody in the chat, including Uncle Frank. This is a disagreement about ideas, not personalities, right? Uncle Frank, if he's family, he's family. It's love, So what I'm about to say, I'm saying from the standpoint of the ideas behind his statement. Right. But when he talks about respect, right, I think that the definition of respect that black folk have is really warped. It's really twisty. For example, when I think of respect, when I think of who I actually respected throughout my life, there's three characteristics that I've always noticed in everybody I respected. Number one was competence. COMPETENCE, competence. Right. Their abilities. I looked at what they were doing and said, holy shit, that's something I want to emulate. I can see what they're doing. Right. So their competency. Number two was their sense of self-awareness. The people that I've respected throughout my life never had to demand my respect, because they carried themselves in a fashion that made it impossible for me to not respect them. You get where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
And the third characteristic that I've noticed is that these people had an outlook to where they wanted to benefit me, right? In other words, when they acted, when they moved, when they talked, when they communicated, it was letting me know that it was directly for my benefit. that they weren't looking to gain anything. It wasn't about them. It was about me. And those things fostered my respect in them. Now, how does this translate into parenting, in my opinion, right? We say to our children that they have to respect us, but we equate respect with obedience, right? But when you look at how we tend to parent our children, we are never, as parents, looking to let our competency speak to our children. In other words, we don't ever really give a shit if our children see us as actual effective adults, human beings, parents. In other words, we give them no measurables to look at. We even tell our children, do as I say, not as I do, right? So they can't use our competence as a measurement for respect, right? And because we're trying to force their obedience, right, we come off as insecure. Like if you have to make somebody do something, that's a sure sign that it's probably either something they don't necessarily want to do, or they haven't seen that it's a positive thing to do, right? So they can't use that as a means to respect us, right? And most of us as parents, unfortunately, our lives ain't about our children. Our lives is about ours. That whole Michael Jordan meme where you see the picture of Michael Jordan, it's like, fuck them kids. I'm sorry, but our people operate a lot in that sphere. It's like, as long as you doing what the fuck I tell you, you're not giving me no headaches, and my life good, then you consider to be a good kid. When in fact, as a parent, your life is supposed to be about the growth, the enhancement, the upbringing, the uplift of your children. And because of those three things, fam, that whole idea of getting respect from your children as Black parents, I don't even think you can even say it. It has no validity, because we're not engaging with them to seek their respect. We're engaging with them to demand their obedience. Fam, can you hear me still?
All right. I'm back on, having audio problems now. This is crazy, but we're going to keep moving forward.
Fam, can you hear me?
What I can fix on here. Let me see. Testing. And testing. All right, fam, come back in and come back. Yeah, do that again. So everybody having audio problems. I don't know what this is. It's crazy. If it's not one thing or it's another, but I think I know what it is because the conversation that we're having, it's not a conversation that many people want to have. You're back in. We're going to keep moving forward. Let me just say this. There. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you, fam.
So I talked about solutions in terms of working with young men. And you have people talking about let the community burn. It's not my job to be a cleanup man. All these various things. Now, when we look at coronavirus and how it is impacting the Black community, to me, that is an example, another example of how we can't afford to just leave the community in the way it is and think that you can just walk away and it does not have some direct or indirect effect on you. For example, I've worked and I've worked with young men. A lot of these young men that I worked with have turned out to have fantastic careers. They could have went in another direction. I also personally deal with guys in the prison system, so I see what it leads to. Now, these same young men will be beating you upside your head. They'll be robbing you. They will be breaking into your house. if you have the attitude that, well, that's what they are over there. I think if you're not willing to get involved in helping out, and it can be many ways, Brother Black.
Yeah.
If you can't get involved physically with your hands in the community, you can support an organization that is doing the work. That's why there really is no excuse for us, because I can donate to an organization that's doing the physical work if my black ass is too lazy to do it myself. I can support somebody that's doing it. So there really is no excuses, even to those who say, well, I don't want to go into that community. Well, you can actually help from indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, mentorship, I believe in. Can you hear me, brother?
Audio problems again.
Brother, can you hear me?
Okay.
Brother
Black, can you actually hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, the problem is that I can't hear you. Oh, God, I just don't know why this has got to happen today. All right, Kujin's in the house. Art New Styles in the house. They're going to interrupt with the, oh, I see, because their truth that's coming forward. Yeah, well, YouTube plays this kind of games. They don't want us talking these kind of conversations. If me and him was arguing and doxing each other, we get high definition sound.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the chat fam is saying they can hear both us, but we can't.
Oh man, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull out and come back in. Maybe I should come in and come back out. Let me test something.
Okay. Fam, are y'all able to hear me? Pop a 1 in the chat or something. Let me know if my audio is good. Y'all getting it in chat, by the way, man. I appreciate everybody watching the broadcast, supporting the brother today. Like I said, it's an honor to speak with people who are looking to do something positive for our people. Shout out to all of you. Sister Shalonda, Sister Joan, I see you. Uncle Frank. Hey, I hope, by the way, Uncle Frank, I hope that you appreciate what I was saying. Sister August, love you, sister. Yeah, Brother Information, man, you with us?
Yeah, I'm back. I decided that I'm going to come in and come back out. Maybe that could help the problem. But let me say this, Uncle Frank, I dig what you're saying. I do believe that you do have to set young men in order. And there does come a time where you may have to set certain parameters and discipline. But I think what we're really saying is, what is the origins of where black people got that from? And you can trail that back to these slave plantations.
But you know what, Brother Clifton? So
part of it.
You know, for me, because you know how I roll, words have meanings, right? Things mean something. So let's look if for a moment, if we could, at the meaning of the word discipline. Now, the word discipline comes from the root disciple, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning one who willingly submits to an authority, right? Okay, notice what I said. One who willingly submits to an authority, right? When Jesus's disciples came to him, or I should say when they became his disciples, Jesus wasn't out there with a stick beating people off of fishing boats, out of tax booths, and so on and so forth. He was persuasive. He demonstrated for them the reasons why they should follow him, and they chose willingly to submit to his authority. Right now, the reason why I'm pressing on this, Brother Clifton, is because this is super important when it comes to how we need to address, especially our young men. Right. When I talked about respect before, right, and the men especially, but the people in general that I came to respect, I came to respect them due to the fact that I saw that there were specific and distinct reasons why I should follow their authority. They were competent. They demonstrated to me the validity of the things that they would say and the things that they would do, why I should disciple myself to them, right? So they never had a problem with discipline out of me, right? Why? Because I chose to submit to their authority, right? With my own children, one thing that I did was I explained to them from the earliest time they were able to understand language that it is always okay to question everything I say and or do. There is nothing off the table, period. If dad says something, it's open to question. You do not have to immediately obey me. Another thing that I did was I committed to this. Now, this shit was hard, Brother Clifton, but I'm blessed with two great children. And the reason why is because I made a rule that if I did not have a distinct and specific reason for anything that I asked them to do, I did not hold them to it. Brother Clifton, I can't hear you again, fam. Yeah, Brother Clifton, I see you, see your mouth moving, but but no audio. But so I think that, you know, and I'm going to continue for the chat. I'll probably just pop out and pop back in. But to finish.
Okay.
Yeah, brother, can you hear me?
Brother Black, it's the audio again. Every
Okay.
time you start talking, brother, I notice they keep shutting the audio off.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But I'm going to finish my point. I'm going to drop out.
Yeah, do it again.
Back,
God,
right?
man,
but to finish
so
my
frustrated.
point, fam, what I'm saying is this. If we
come on
want to
back
be
in, come back in. When you come back in, it usually makes the audio come back up.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. So as everybody can see, I don't know what's going on, folks. Every time Brother Black begins to talk, the audio on his side goes off. I'm checking all my settings to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be.
All right, brother. How about now? Can you hear me?
You can't even hear me. Still talking.
I can't hear you again, fam.
Before it was the internet connection. Now it's the audio.
Had no problems. Broadcast was clear as a bell. No problems. And then now today, giving me more problems. Now, Peggy Roster says that I think it's the internet. Yeah, because a lot of people are using the internet because a lot of people are at home. But I just find it fishy that when Brother Black begins to speak on certain issues, that's when the audio goes bunkers. I just find it not a coincidence. Continue, Brother Black. Let's continue. We got to forge through this. My God.
Brother, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. So I was finishing my point with the fam was that I believe that we need to look at how we're actually raising our children, and we need to be, as parents, we need to be accountable to them. Our role as parents is to be of service to them, not for them to be of service to us. I think we got the shit kind of backwards, you know what I mean? And because we have it backwards, because we still look at children as our personal property. We talk about my kids. You're not going to talk to my kids. My kids, they do it. No, what they are little human beings that you have responsibility to help make big human beings. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think we have that understanding as a collective, because if we did, it would change how we engage with our children. I have found that by treating them like little adults and having roughly the same expectations that are age appropriate. I'll give you an example, Brother Clifton, and I'm certain you'll appreciate this. When my children were young, from the moment that they were able to understand my words, I would give them choices. I would, for example, I'm trying to feed my daughter, right? She's hungry. She's got to eat. So I would get the baby cereal with the peas and the baby cereal with the carrots. And I would ask her, little mama, do you want the peas or the carrots? Right? Now, if she chose the peas, she ate the peas, and she was bound by the consequences of her choice. One of the things that I taught my children very early on is that you are responsible for the choices that you make. Right? Dad will accept anything if you bring me the right evidence and you're willing to stand on that. Right? So
Right.
my children were able to make choices, but whether it was what socks they wanted to wear, if they wanted to go outside and play or stay in, they got choices right out the gate. Plus, I was open to answer any question that they would ever bring me, no matter what. Even I had the talk, the birds and the bees talk with both of my children at different ages. One was a little older, but it was both before they even hit puberty. And when they came to me, I gave them the straight dope. I didn't drop the whole, oh, if you get pregnant, you're going to catch an STI and die or end up on welfare. No, I told them that sex in its proper place is one of the most beautiful things human beings can experience. Your body's going to want to do it. These are the reasons why. And I laid it all out. I gave them the information. I didn't have no bias. I didn't tell them. I said, okay, and if this happens, then we need to look at this. If you're thinking about this, we need to consider this. What do you think? How often are black children asked? What do they think? Like, I don't get how we raise black people and expect them when they turn 18 to magically think about shit. But all the way up to the time they're 18, we don't want to hear nothing from them. We don't care about their opinions. We don't want to know what they think. We don't give a shit. How does that make sense? Brother Clifton, I can't hear you, fam.
All of a sudden, they begin to mess with mine. Can everybody hear me in the chat room right now? If you can, put a 1 in the chat room, which will let me know that you can actually hear me. And then, oh, I see what's happening now. It's muting your unmute. Start talking real quick, brother Black. Okay, let me see something. Wow, this is some trickery here. Okay, say something if you can so people can hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me, Brother Clifton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull out and come back in again.
All right.
Pull out and come back in again. Wow, this is interesting. So everybody can hear me. So give me your opinion, everybody. What do you think is going on? I was on last night. I had no problem with my audio, my music, no nothing. What's going on, Mimi? Mimi, Golden, and Melanin's in the house. Art says he can hear. Jasmine is in the house, says that she can hear as well. So, Brother Black, this is what's going on. People say they can hear me.
Yeah.
Then when you start talking, then it cuts out. Then when I start going into my settings, actually, it's almost like it's muting you, man. And then I got no control. And what about your equipment that you're using? I see you got a Yeti over there. Is all your equipment set up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me, fam? By the way, can you hear me?
I can hear you. But
Yeah,
see, I can hear you now because you're not saying anything controversial. As soon as you start talking controversial, all of a sudden your audio cuts off. That doesn't make any. I'm talking, my audio is not being cut off. It's your audio that's being cut off. Something doesn't smell right.
Fam, I got a pretty decent setup here. While this isn't a Yeti, it's actually a condenser mic, but it's on a boom here, as y'all can see. Then I've got a Behringer 1204 mixer over here, you know what I'm saying? So, I got a fairly decent setup. It's not high end, but it gets the job done.
All right, let's do this because we were talking prior before we went on live here. Give me your opinion. We're going to switch the subject a little bit here, but it fits. I just think that when we raise our kids like this, it does impact how they grow up into adulthood, and then we see some of the destructive behavior that we see partially. Let me bring this to your attention. We talked about this. What do you think Donald Trump is putting out there? What type of dog whistle as it relates to this past week or just a day ago? He's talking about that Michigan needs to be liberated and all this sort of talk. And a lot of those folks out there in Michigan that were protesting, brother, were Donald Trump fans or supporters. So what's going on?
Fam, I'll be honest with you. I've never been a Trump fan per se, right? He's the president. It is what it is. So I'm not one of those people to be like, oh, fuck Donald Trump because he's the president. He's not my president. He's the president, right? I don't have to like that. But I think what Donald Trump has done recently, in my opinion, is nothing short of treasonous. You essentially have the chief executive of the United States calling for or inciting violence towards state governors and their governments. That to me is the very definition of treason. Like this motherfucker right now is getting away with absolute bloody murder. And I actually hope that I'm not saying that and that's literal, because we already saw down in Virginia people going up into the Virginia, house and stuff like that, armed with weaponry and things like that. It would not take anything but a spark in order for somebody to start exchanging rounds. And when that happens, you've already got, people out here that are preparing for a so-called civil war. So it's like our greatest enemy at this particular point as a nation, I'm not even talking about just as black folk, is Donald Trump. This man is doing everything he can to try to not take responsibility for his role in the outbreak and his handling of the outbreak. He's casting about for people to blame over and over. First is, China, then it's this, then it's that. And then we start becoming the face of it. They go from, oh, well, it's not going to be that bad. Let's just open up the economy and this, that, and the third. The man's a monster. And I'll be honest with you, fam. I mean, I can't really say publicly what I'd like to see happen to him, but I have lost any type of optimism or anything when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump. He's a madman and a treasonous one at that.
Let me put my 2 cents in. I've had a chance to examine some things here. I have audio on this, so I will back this up later on down the line with my audio. Susan Rice, no matter what you may think of her, folks, I have an audio of Susan Rice stating that when Donald Trump came into office, they gave him a big, giant, fat memo, his whole administration, letting them know and warning them about a potential pandemic coming down the pipeline because she was appointed by Obama. Obama in 2014 himself said, matter of fact, I could play that too right now, but let me move forward. Obama warned the country, the Republicans and the Democrats, to prepare for something that could happen within 5 or a decade, that there could be a pandemic coming down the pipeline, and prepare for it. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. Obama put together a pandemic team with CDC. He gave them a high budget. Donald Trump came in. He cut the budget down to 80%. Then he disbanded the team and all the people that were involved on that team. Then the United States military warned Donald Trump gave medical supplies, lots of medical supplies to China.
Yep.
Right when they were having their problem, and then he had a rally, and he told America that this is the Democrats playing tricks, that this is fake news. And then he tells us today that they knew how bad the pandemic was going to be. They knew it was bad. Such bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, Clifton,
Brother Black, you're going to have to come back in again. And Brother Black, people were also telling me that I should probably try the phone. I should open up the phone lines too. I might do that as well. But come on back in again. Okay. I'm going to open up the phone lines. Yeah, I'm going to open up the phone lines too. And here are the phone lines for you in just a moment. There it is right there, folks. If anybody wants to call in and join the discussion, do so. The number is 605-313-5658. Code number 571128. I'm going to leave that on the screen. Let me bring Brother Black back in. I'm going to leave that on the screen if anyone wants to call in and give their opinions on anything. Okay, let's continue. So you heard the gist of what I said. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think you're spot on. You know, first of all, it's not like because I'm never ever going to give credit to the Obama administration for shit. I'm sorry, I was not an Obama fan. I'm never going to be one. The man did more to set black folks specifically back 50 years than anybody in recent history. But with that having been said, it didn't take a rocket scientist to know that with the initial SARS outbreak, and then also with H1N1, that the likelihood of a pandemic was possible, right? So Trump can't claim ignorance on this shit. I mean, in point of fact, he just simply mishandled
going here.
And rather,
all right, I'm back on.
Yeah,
once again.
I can
same
hear you,
problems,
fam.
same issues. Come back in, come back out. Come back in. God, I had problems last week when I tried to bring this brother on. Now this week, first last week it was the picture. I was cutting in and out. Now this week it's audio. What's going to be next? Continue.
I was just simply saying Trump can't claim ignorance on this shit. He mishandled it straight up. Matter of fact, he didn't mishandle it because mishandling would require that he actually made an attempt to do something. He did. I remember the little white Becky reporter, what's her name, Paula or whatever from CBS, asked the dude, asked Trump, said, hey, okay, you were able to get some time all throughout the month of February to address this shit, right? We're acknowledging that you weren't informed as early as you would like to be and this, that, and the third, fine, right? You did what you had to do to buy yourself time for February. What did you do during February? We all know Donald Trump didn't do shit. And in point of fact, Donald Trump still isn't doing shit. He's trying to make the argument that the governors are responsible for the outcome of how the outbreaks are handled in their state. But we're still supposed to be giving the federal government resources that they somehow are just supposed to hold on to and stockpile so that when the states need them, they have to beg the feds for them. That none of that shit makes sense. Well, it's all wonky. And meanwhile, everybody's getting paid except the people, right? So the banks then got paid. The Fed authorized $1 trillion a day through the repo markets, buying junk bonds, so on and so forth. So the banks are straight. Big business basically devoured that fund that was supposed to be set aside for providing paychecks and this, that, and the third for small businesses. They raided the shit out of that. Right.
Well, let me say this. When Trump was asked the question about the small business being tapped out, he said he thought it was a great thing. He kept saying, oh, it's a great thing. See, it shows that it works, but he didn't. But I'm saying to myself, but there's still people out there who need that loan, who need that benefit. What are you going to do about it? Now, another thing that's dangerous is that he was telling the states that they were going to open the country up and he had the full authority. No, he doesn't. That goes against the Constitution. Exactly. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Then he's getting into this talk about liberty, give them liberty. See, you know what Trump is doing? He's using these briefings as a glorified rally because he can't go out there and do the rally. So he's using it to promote, right? Then check out what else he did, Brother Black. He got up there and he said, there's some states that are getting too much credit for how they're handling the pandemic. You know who he's talking about? He's talking about California. He's talking about all the Democratic governors that he does not like. And the Republican governors, he'll say, oh, Oklahoma's doing a great job. Some of these southern states are real backwards, brother, but he's praising them. So he puts out these subliminal dog whistles, or literally whistles, to his constituents who are following. And let me tell you something else, brother. The word government, you know what the word government means? It means control, to control people, to control. So the question is, the question is the whole idea of government and controlling you, to me personally, is very dangerous. And I agree with you. People who follow, I don't care if they're black, white, or otherwise, the people who follow Trump they act like they're part of a cult. He can do no wrong. No matter what he does, they make an excuse for it, right? And you've got black folks who are setting up here, in my opinion, making excuses for a lot of his behavior. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, let me put something on the screen. I want everybody to see this. Those who weren't here last night, because I want to get your opinion on this too, brother. Those that weren't here last night. Let me put this on the screen real quick here. And right here, are you familiar with Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Armand Henderson in Miami.
Yeah.
You see the picture right there? Okay. This brother got arrested. I did a video last night about this. He got arrested. He is helping the homeless in terms of testing them for Corona-19, in terms of getting them food and getting them tent shelter as best he can. He works at the University of Miami Health System. He is an internal medicine doctor. He's being handcuffed outside of his home. This cop ran up on him. This is a professional man right here. Professional man. This is him in action. And he told the cop, I'm allowed to dump some things here because this is a dump zone, but that was put here by the city. And I'm also packing things in my van because I'm getting ready to go out to help people. The cop handcuffed him, got in his face. The cop didn't have a mask on, no mask, and spit in the man's face. He had to call for his wife. To be doing a live stream. My God. So anyway, you get the gist of what I was saying, brother.
Yep.
What is your thoughts?
You know, none of that shocks me, unfortunately. You know, one of the things that you and I talked about last week when we were speaking on this subject was that part of what's coming in various states is the criminalization, or as you know, they would call it, the attempt to control the motion, the movement, the behaviors of people that are, high risk or super spreaders is the term they're starting to come up with, asymptomatic people that are supposedly infected with COVID-19 and this, that, and the third. And you can best believe that anything that is punitive, anything that is, somebody getting fined, somebody getting detained, somebody having their movements controlled, that's going to be us. Okay. Brother
Just
Clifton,
keep doing it, brother. We're going to keep doing what we got.
Okay, there you go.
We're going to just keep doing it.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Come in and come back out.
But
I can't hear you, brother.
Okay.
Brother Black, just come out and come back in again.
Okay.
Whoo, this is extremely frustrating, people. Extremely frustrating. All right.
Brother Clifton, can you hear me?
Yeah, continue. I'm trying to savor the time we got until they do it to us again. Go ahead.
I actually, if you don't mind, brother, what I can do is I can go ahead and get off of the Streamlabs. I can call into the number and we can do it over the phone like that if you want.
Okay. We could do that. People were suggesting that. Let me put the number back on the
I see it on the screen right now. So if you just leave this little piece up, I'm gonna go ahead and pop out. I'm going to pop back. I'm going to call the number, jump in, and then you just bring me in there. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be easy, brother, because I got it already fired up. Just call the number, put the code in, and I'll pull you right on in. Thank you.
Just
all right. All right. Peace. So there's always one way to skin a cat, folks. So he's going to call in, and really everybody in the chat room, you made the suggestion. This was your call, an intelligent call by intelligent people in the chat room. Woosai, yeah. Woosai. Woosai is right. It's just extremely frustrating when you're trying to get information out. You're trying to have an intelligent conversation about some things, and then YouTube plays these games with you. Last night, they didn't do this to me, but today, they do this when I have Brother Black on. So I'm waiting for him to call in. It is a conference call, folks. let me say what's up to everybody. We got Natural in the house, August Dreams. Chef and More was in the house. Make sure that you check out Chef and Moore's channel. She's a content creator. I don't know if she's still here or not. Check out Natural. She's got a great channel and she sells products that you definitely would be interested in, ladies. So check her out. We've got, let me see, Try It, Buy It, Make It, and Sell It. I like that name. She says hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, brother, peace.
Yeah.
All right. So, but no, I was saying before the audio, before things got screwy, is that it doesn't surprise me what happened to the doctor. I mean, anything, that is going to become punitive, trouble where people's behaviors, movements and all of that are going to be curtailed, especially now that we have become sort of the face of the thing. It does not surprise me that they will be cracking down on us, fines, detainments, arrests, so on and so forth. I think that a really hard discussion has to be had about what we as a collective intend to do to respond to that, Brother Clifton, because, to be quite frank, I don't think that us complaining and whining is really going to do much to address it, if you know what I mean.
I agree with you, but this is the thing. I think that we can't complain without action. You got to have action. But we do have to, but in order to create action, brother, and you would agree with me, I would hope, you have to create a alarm clock, meaning you have to bring attention that this is what's happening. You must sound the alarm.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
And then because there's a lot of people, believe it or not, who probably haven't heard about what happened to this brother or what has happened to other brothers, where the media suppresses the news around these issues because the news is surrounded around all the other things that are happening in the world around COVID-19. So something like this gets lost in the shuffle of the media. Is not very important to media. And so it's people like us, social media, who need to sound the alarm when these things are happening. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. 100%. As a matter of fact, it is. I think that is the primary role that we as social media, information bringers, content creators, activists, and so on and so forth. That's our primary responsibility. Just like everybody else in America tends to get their news and information in roughly the same ways, the same format, so do we. But it is incumbent upon us as people who study, who learn about different subjects, different topics, to really translate that information for our people in a way that allows them to be able to get the data that they need in order to make the choices that we as a collective need to make. So I agree with you 100%.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's the start. We gotta do something. Now, let me ask you this question. Now, apparently the stimulus checks were supposed to be launched and sent out to people, if you have direct deposit, that is, Wednesday. And then there are people that will have to get it in the mailbox. Now, a lot of people are saying, should it make a difference how much money you make? Shouldn't you be entitled to get this stimulus check? I mean, people pay into the system. We know that the rich, matter of fact, there's an article I ran across, brother, yesterday that said that the billionaires haven't paid taxes, haven't paid their real share of taxes since 1980.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. What I find interesting about the whole means testing thing is that it's indicative of the major issue with America as a whole, right? With all of America, with the whole thing. And I'll give you an explanation as to why that is. Americans never do anything against the rich, because our story as a nation is that one day all of us have the potential, the capability to be that rich person, right? So when the rich don't pay taxes, when the government gives the rich money for, crony capitalist, socialist bullshit, nepotism, all of that, we don't really go as hard as people in other countries would. Because in other countries, 90% of the shit that we face here in America, they would have already been together, all of them, in the streets, burning shit up. I mean, you saw how the yellow vests were going ham before the outbreak of the coronavirus over in France. They was kicking France in the ass. Like, I know Macron right now is breathing a sigh of relief because the French people were going ham for a hell of a lot less than what we're having to face here in the United States. Whenever something is being done for the people, there's a bunch of gatekeeping, means testing. But as soon as the rich need anything, it's instantaneous. Open up the door. Everybody gets, the spigots are turned wide open, and so on and so forth. And, I'll be honest with you, fam. To me, it's just, we as a nation have to stop telling ourselves these comfortable lies that we have the potential to be just as rich as the rich are. That's not true. It's never been true.
Right.
It's never going to be true.
Right. Well, this is the thing. A lot of these companies are making a lot of money. Jeff Bezos is getting rich over hand and foot right now because everybody is buying products online. I ran across an article that, let me see this article I got here. Walmart is trying to get away from a suit that let me see if I can find this article that I have right here. Oh, here it is. Here it is right here. Perfect. There's reports. Let me throw this at you real quick. And everybody listening, there's reports that Walmart has hid that they are under criminal investigation for opioid sales, that they're one of the biggest drug peddlers of this whole opiate drugs situation, that Walmart's been trying to run away from it, and they've got a suit against them that's coming behind them. What are your thoughts? I mean, these corporations, they get away with a lot of stuff. And this is the reason why, I think that black people, we deserve the stimulus check. We deserve more money. We deserve reparations, or the debt that this country owes us. They're proving that they're willing to throw money to the big banks and the big corporations. And they, as I said before, they continue to give us chump change. But yet you've got companies like Walmart and Amazon that don't pay any taxes, really, and then they're also peddling the drugs, the prescription drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, fam, there's a lot of bullshit that, to be quite frank, I'm really continually shocked that Americans put up with. It's just mind-boggling, really. I just can't figure for the life of me why it is that we continue to allow America to be how it is. It just makes no sense whatsoever to me.
Right. Let me say what's up to Marcus Love Experience. Peace to you, brother. We got producer HNC in the house. Thank you for being here. We got the Life of King Ways. Check out his channel. We got Sister G in the house, and many, many others. And then I think that I got a super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Back to the basics.
Thank you for the super chat.
I really appreciate that. I'm going to put her on the screen. Let me ask you this question. What is the strategy that black people should employ coming out of this, if we ever get out of this pandemic we call coronavirus? What is the lessons that we should learn as a people going forward?
I've been thinking a lot about that, precisely because I think it's the most important question we have to ask at this particular point. And I think that the most important lesson for us to learn is this. In America, we will only have the rights, the freedoms, the resources, the protection, whatever it is that you desire as a people, as a tribe. We will have what we're willing to fight for. And I mean that on every level, whether it's through the pen, through the spoken word, or if need be, the gun. America, to me, has made it clear that there is nothing that we are going to get we don't take from her. And that's just as simple as that. And people can interpret that however they like. You know, they can say, oh, Brother Black's trying to incite violence, this, that, and no. What I'm saying, I think, should be just a matter of fact. We as Black people, as the children of the enslaved ones here in America, right? America has made it clear on both right wing, left wing, both rich, poor, you know, gay, straight, don't matter. If you're not us, America has no problem with seeing us consigned to the annals of history. And so if we want to remain an extant and, you know, viable people here, where there's a lot of shit that we've been taking, we're going to have to not take anymore. We're going to have to stand up and actually give this country hell. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not certain that we can't do it. Like, there's a lot of us that say, oh, well, you know, they have this and they have that. One thing I've noticed in this country is this. We have never made America pay a price for its attempted domination over us. In any major sense. You follow me, Brother Clifton? I'm talking about in a major, heavy duty, like, we have never actually, as a collective, stood up and said, okay, instead of killing us on the installment plan, we about to give y'all this work and y'all gonna either kill us or justice is gonna be done. Right? We have never done that. Would you agree?
Well, this is where and let me say peace to Green Organic Love. She came in the house. I wanted to say what's up to her if she's still here. And we've got my man, Lil Rock 2517. Thank you for being here. We got Dodo Brown is in the house as well. CRU is in the house. Thank you, brother, for being here. Let me just say this. Historically, if you go back historically, you had Black people that rose up in slave revolts. You had slave revolts all over this country in the early years of this country. So historically, unlike any other group, and I think the Haitians were able to battle against the French and put them into bankruptcy damn near, which is why they had to sell off the middle half of this country we call the Louisiana Purchase. But historically, Black people over the years and decades have put up battles and fights. This is where you are right, though, brother.
No, brother, because I don't want you to mistake me. I'm not saying there's. Yeah, go ahead.
No. This is what I'm saying. Historically, in the early years of this country, Black people did put up fight and die bloodshed. But now that we've moved into these modern days of the 21st century and we've moved out of civil rights, what you're saying is actually correct. We have not put up the type of fight that maybe our ancestors put up 500 years ago, coming off that slave ship, getting on that slave ship, and coming out of slavery into Reconstruction where they had to actually literally fight to the death. No, I don't think we've done that. Civil rights movement was about bowing your head down and using non-violence and hoping that the person that was oppressing you was going to somehow feel sorry that they would stop oppressing you. And we see that they haven't stopped doing that today.
Right. But you can't appeal to the conscience of somebody whose whole personal and collective and societal interest demands that they don't have a conscience. Like, right. I think we don't seem to get that. Like, I'm not certain why this is, right? This requires a lot more analysis than just my one little brain, but it seems to me, right, just being, a brother that likes to observe different things, is that we've spent a lot of time, first of all, asking questions that we really don't need the answers to. For example, you can go on Black social media right now, pick your medium, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and there will be a thread or a conversation going on about why white folks is doing Black folks the way they do Black folks. I can guarantee it. Okay. Now, is that a bad question? No. No such thing as a stupid question. But here's the problem that I have with these why conversations and why I'm at the point of just saying, fuck that, right? First of all, let's say to get the answer tomorrow, right? Let's say that white folks collectively caught a goddamn virus that made them incapable of doing anything but telling us the complete 100% unvarnished truth. And we got the answer to our question of why they do us like this tomorrow. Okay. So we got the answer. And now what? So we know why. Now what? You see what I'm saying? The problem is that you can get the answer to a why question, even if it's 100% true, and it doesn't lead you anywhere. It doesn't take you anywhere. Well, right? But the second problem that I have with us asking why is this. Why is a question we will never actually get the answer to. Because we've known historically that white folks have lied to us about different shit, right? So if they came out tomorrow, even if all, 205 million of them here in America told us all the same thing, we wouldn't trust it. So even if we got the answer, we wouldn't believe it. So asking why for us is just another way of us spinning our wheels, pretending that we're actually having a key discussion about something when we're actually not. It's deflection. I don't want Black people anymore to focus on why. We don't need to know why whites in this country operate the way they do, act the way they act, think the way they think. None of that really, truly, essentially matters. Well, what matters is what are they doing? How do we respond, right? Who do we direct our energies at? Those are questions that actually have answers that we can measure, that we can understand, and that we can continue to formulate information based off of.
Well, brother, I still contend that the reason why you get the why answer is because in America, Black people have been culturally conditioned to see white as superior, Black as inferior. And as a manifestation of that cultural conditioning, we underestimate, undervalue, and marginalize ourselves as Black people, and the white people do the same to us. We see the black man's ice, the white man's ice is colder than the Black man's ice. And the reason why the why question becomes based reality for us, as you were saying, is because religion and various things that we are part of always teaches us to say, why? Why is there a God? Why do you believe this? Everything is around why, instead of doing something about the issue. So in the case of this is where I get down at. I no longer like to spend a lot of time. I used to be like this when I was much younger, brother. I no longer subscribe or spend a lot of time trying to figure out how can I convince white people or any group of people that are discriminative towards me and my people. I never spend a lot of time trying to say, how can I reform them and how can I get them not to be a racist or whatever? It's really a waste of your time. Why? Because Black people have been here for over 500 years. And for all those years that we've been here through slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights movement, we have constantly been trying to say to this group, why are you doing this? We're good people. Black people have done everything. Why you think Black men, and you know this, why you think Black men went into World War I, World War II? because we wanted to show that we were just as patriotic as white people, that we could pull our own load and pull up our own bootstraps. So black people were in everything that this country has ever done, from the Revolutionary War on up, more than any other group that's in this country that's immigrated over here, because we're not immigrants, we're citizens. And I guess,
right.
And so we've done all of that, and yet here we are in the 21st century, 2020, and when a black man wears a mask to protect himself from coronavirus, he can be profiled, mistreated, told to get out of a Walmart, the whole 9 yard. The whole 9 yard. So that's wasted energy, in my opinion. Wasted energy. We know what it is. We know what the reality is. We know what the history is. The question is, what are we going to do amongst ourselves to go forward and move forward and stop trying to get people to love and accept us when that's past? We're past that now. Black people, we're asking ourselves, even when I talk about this whole thing about coronavirus and they're labeling us the face of it, none of us should be surprised by that.
Absolutely.
The medical establishment has been experimenting on black people, whether it be the Tuskegee, Alabama program. They have been using us as laboratory tests for decades. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I mean, is that, ultimately, we are going to have to make some hard choices about how we're going to respond. And again, asking those why questions, while I suppose they could be helpful, they really aren't. You know what I mean? We will never get the answers that we're desirous of, that we're looking for, and so on and so forth. And I would argue that we actually are doing ourselves a harm, a disservice, right, by continuing to ask about and worry about and discuss about, why is this happening? Why is this? Why is that? Well, nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares why. Right? The people that we think we need the answers from, or whatever the case may be, right? They are not interested in any answer, because any answer that they come up with means that they have to change their behavior, and they gain everything that they've gained by not changing their behavior. So they have no incentive to look for or even seek out an answer to our questions. Responses, our worldviews, and so on and so forth, because I can tell you for a certainty, in America, we are literally all we have. We can't count on Latinos. We can't count on Asians. We can't even count on the motherfuckers on the reservations. At the end of the day, the children of the slaves are the only ones that we got. Period. We're going to have to find our ways past our traditional dislikes and hatreds of each other. We're going to have to stop looking for ways to count people out and start looking for counting people in. We're going to have to make fewer families, but larger ones. We need to change our definition of family. There's so much work, fam, that we can do that will immediately put us in a position to start to address the historical and current injustices that we face, that we could spend the rest of our lives doing that work, and it would not be a waste.
Well, let me interject this too. In order for black people to do the work that you speak of, we have to get and this is the kind of work that I do, we've got to get our mental health together. See, that's the basic, that's a big part of this too, brother, that we have. Agreed. In order to move forward, you've got to get yourself in order psychologically. A lot of us are holding on to a lot of baggage from our family. We're holding on to this. Why didn't I get this? Why does that person have that? The jealous and envy. We spend way too much time on these YouTube streets. I'm using YouTube as an example, having these dysfunctional conversations about black men and black women and what is the problem. My thing is, if you don't like black women, then why the hell are you talking about them? Move on, go somewhere else. If you're not for the community, then stop talking about the community that you don't give a damn about.
Facts.
If you only,
so
if you don't like black women and you're a person that says, I'm getting a passport and I'm going to Brazil or wherever, bye, go, do your thing. Go do your thing. And if you're living that life, then you shouldn't have anything else to say about other people. It becomes unproductive and it doesn't get us anywhere. So, and I say that the reason why you see black people talk in this way a lot of the times is because we are psychologically damaged, have not gotten over a lot of things in our life, whether it be in our own family structures and outside of that. And so I think if we can just let go and get some help, get some therapy, or do something to deal with our psychological issues, that will also help us to move forward.
Well, we keep bringing it up, but again, going back to religion, you know what I mean? When black people are struggling, we don't think to go and get, see a therapist and get some help. We're told to pray it away, that we don't have enough faith, and that's why we struggling. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. There's a whole host of reasons why we haven't addressed the traumas, the collective and individual traumas that we face as a people. But I think, Brother Clifton, at the end of the day, we pretty soon, and I'm going to argue more sooner than later, to coin a phrase from Donald, the goddamn traitorous jack off Trump, more sooner than later, we are going to have to address this shit. We're not, in other words, fam, I believe that we are in a place right now where our choices are being reduced and constrained down to very few. And if we don't start addressing the what's, the how's, the who's, it won't matter what we discover about the whys. Like I said, you got entire channels dedicated to why the coronavirus showed up. Who gives a fuck why the coronavirus showed up? Like, who cares if it came out of a lab in Wuhan, or if it came out of Fort Detrick? Like, I don't need to know any of that. The fact is that it's here. Well, what the hell am I going to do about it now?
I've been saying
that. I'm saying?
Yes, I've been saying that, brother. There's all kind of conspiracy theories, whether you believe them or not. Personally, you can believe whatever you think you want to believe, but it doesn't change the fact that the coronavirus is here and it'll kill your ass. Another thing that's bothering me on this subject matter is that I still see too many black people running around thinking that this is not something to take serious. And then you got people complaining about how they got to be in their house. I got two words, brother. You can either stay in your house and enjoy your television, enjoy whatever you have at home. For those of you that are fortunate to have certain things at home to entertain yourself, or your ass can be in a cardboard box, because they're not even having legitimate funerals because of this. You won't even get a legitimate funeral. Your family may not even be able to see your ass.
That's real talk. That is real talk. And see, the thing is like I said, that all goes back to the fact that a lot of us tend to contend that the worst that black people have had it is in the past, right? Unfortunately, us Xers, we bought into the post-racial narrative that our parents told us that, hey, we made it, civil rights, we made it, just go out there and get a good job and an education and you'll be just fine. We bought into that, right? And so, we started doing that. And then the millennials, are seeing that it's all fuckery. So they just withdrawing into video games and parties and this, that, and the third. Gen Z, I'm waiting to see what they do. But, you know, the fact is that we got complacent. We forgot that the fight until it's completed is always with us, which is why, to me, it's important. And whether, like I said, you know, in my last podcast, regardless of what you feel about Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, whether you like them or not, whether you think they're authoritative or not, I don't care. But they brought us a word, a people. They brought us a word as a people that we need to claim our lineage. We need to claim our name, claim our heritage, because in that lies power. Because our ancestors' struggle doesn't become something that is intellectually remote from us. We speak with their voice. We are their second lives. We are the hammer of justice that they never got. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when you claim that name, fam,
That's right.
and you say, I am a child of the enslaved. Those are my people. That's my heritage. This is my birthright. War is my birthright. Struggle is my birthright. Going after justice is my birthright. It changes how you look at and how you operate in every sphere of America. You stop asking questions like why. You don't care anymore. You don't need to know, right? Your ancestors didn't need to know why white folks was doing them the way they did when they held, you know, over 250 uprisings, insurrections, and rebellions.
Right.
They wasn't sitting there asking themselves why when they was burning down plantations and destroying cotton gins and, you know, putting boll weevils in cotton fields and shit. They saw what was happening and they acted accordingly. But because we've divorced ourselves from our heritage, from our lineage, we don't act the same because we think that was them. Our ancestors had to go through that, not us. But then, so when we're now being faced with the greatest crisis of like 3 Black generations, we don't know how to act.
Okay,
And I'm telling you, as a brother and one who loves you, that this is our time. This is our crucible. This is our opportunity to renew our connection with our ancestors and to do the same work that they called us to do, that they made us to do.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, brother Black. Hey, Cat PY2. I don't know what it is that's keeping you from being able to call in, brother. I might even just have to bring you up on the platform I might bring some folks up on the panel and see if that may work as well. I don't know why, brother. I'll look into it. It could be, I don't know what kind of phone you have. I don't know if you got a Verizon, if you got an iPhone or you got a Metro. You know, certain phones have certain services and certain range and power. I don't know, brother. Try to do your best to come get through if you can. We got Peggy Roster in the house. We got there was somebody I want to say what's up to. I think it was Stack Stakes Are High. I want to say peace to you. He says, why to me doesn't matter. All that matters is that we are in a system. He says white supremacy, and after that, we need to form a constructive way of ending it. Point blank, period. Well, I would say this.
Facts.
That is facts. But I think that we need to, for example, let's go back in history. Black people hundreds of years ago, they knew that they were being oppressed. Matter of fact, their oppression was more physical than what we're going through. We're going through psychological oppression in America. And of course, there are cops beating on black folks. That's physical as well. But if you look at what black people went through, where can anybody imagine that if you crossed the wrong tracks, you could be hung, right? I don't know how many of us that are living today understand that our ancestors lived at a time that the littlest thing could get them hung, killed, like Emmett Till. And so knowing that, our ancestors still did what? They came together. They built their own businesses in some of their communities. they had cooperative economics because they had no other alternative but to work with each other, despite the racism that was happening, and physical racism and psychological racism. Now, here we are, 21st century Negroes today, with all our iPhones and iPads and computer and YouTube and social media. There is absolutely no excuse for us not to take advantage of this situation that we're in to say once and for all, we need to do for self and stop worrying about and focusing on what the other groups are doing over here. They're going to do whatever they're going to do to us. It should not stop us from still accomplishing what we need to accomplish as a community, as a people, to move forward, to achieve, because our ancestors had even tougher odds against them. There's no excuse for that. We need to focus on us. If we just focus on ourselves, like other groups do, I think there'll be less to hold us back.
I agree with you. Now, one thing I will say as a caveat.
Okay, no problem.
Is that one of the things that we have to become aware of, right? Because I agree with you 100%. Everything that we're able to do for ourselves, we should be doing. Our focus should never be on, the undocumented immigrants or the Asians, damn all of them. If it's not about us at this point, who cares what happens to them, right? I get you 100%. But unfortunately, what we have seen throughout our history is that a lot of times that message has been perverted, right? It's been perverted into this idea that we are responsible in some way for us being in our position, that because we should do for self, we should help ourselves, and so on and so forth. If we do for self and help ourselves and this, that, and the third, but we still have struggles, we still have trials, we still have not gotten justice, that's not on the people committing the injustices and keeping us in the positions that they do. It's on us. And my only caveat is that understand that these are two ideas that are not mutually exclusive. It is true that we should do everything possible under the sun to better ourselves as individuals, families, communities, and ultimately as a tribe. And still understand that we are historically and currently being acted, having justice injustice enacted upon us. And we and those people that are committing the injustices against us also have a responsibility to stop injustice. In other words, yes, there's a part of this that's on us, and everything that we can do, we should do to address it. But I will never sit here and say that we Black people are where we are because of X, whatever that Black people aren't doing. That's bullshit. The fact is that we are under the gun. We are literally under the gun here in the United States, right? There are things that we would love to be able to do for ourselves, but we've had generations of wealth stolen from us. We've had our families' lives taken and destroyed. We've had land stolen from us, defrauded from us. We've had our resources taken to further the aims and goals of people who have antipathy to our interests. That too is true. So I don't want us to forget that part.
Well, let me ask you this question to you. We're going to switch over to this area. We have the issue of Africa. We have some Black people who believe in Pan-Africanism. They're Pan-African.
Yeah.
They believe that maybe what we need to do is leave this place we call America, pack our bags, go to Africa, start a new life, because we can truly be free and be who we are in the land and the continent of Africa. Then there are those that say, hell no, I'm not leaving this country because my people died here. My family built this country. Black folks have built America. We've laid the foundation for other groups or immigrants to come over and benefit from. Hell no. And then the question becomes, well, where, if I go to Africa, well, where am I going to go? And then will they accept me there? There are some that say that Pan-Africanism can't work unless the Africans in the continent of Africa, the countries there, are in support of Pan-Africanism. Is it just black people in America talking Pan-Africanism, or are black folks in the continent, are they 100% buy in on it? So I laid a lot on the table there for you. What do you want to bite on first?
So here's my stance on the whole idea of Pan-Africanism, right? Because I don't believe that Pan-Africanism is necessarily bad.
Okay.
However, I believe Pan-Africanism doesn't take into account the reality of our circumstances. Okay. And I'll explain if you'll allow me.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
So Pan-Africanism, in order to be Pan-African, you have to make some assumptions that I don't think are valid assumptions to make at this point. The first assumption I believe that has to be made is that the people on the continent of Africa see us in the diaspora as theirs, right? In other words, when you talk about Pan-Africanism, it's assuming that we too are also African. But that's not an assumption that we see hold. When we in the diaspora, for example, I'm an American just like you are. If I were to travel to any one of the 54 nations of Africa, they would not see the melanin in my skin and go, oh, he's an African brother like me. No, they would say he's an American, right? Certain other countries would call me a Bruni. Mm-hmm. They would say I'm a white man.
Right.
Right? Certain other nations would call me a Kata. Right? So making the assumption that the 54 nations of Africa see us in the diaspora as a part of Africa is an assumption that I think is untenable. I don't believe that they see it that way. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Right? Number two, the assumption that you have to make is if we see each other as African, that we agree on what is in the interests of each other. When you have certain African nations that have reached out to the diaspora, for example, Patrice Lumumba, right, back in the day, right, when you had, the chairman, the commander-in-chief or the chairman of the EFF, right, Julius Malema, has made overtures here in the diaspora and things like that. These African leaders are sidelined, assassinated, coups brought against them, and so on and so forth. And so the message that Africa's leaders has gotten is you can do whatever you want to your people. We don't care, just as long as you don't try to make any connections with anybody in the diaspora. So they have no interest. In other words, their interest in their nations, in what they're trying to do, is not conducive to our interests.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? We don't have a collective interest in Africa that creates the ties needed to maintain a relationship. In some cases, Africans actually are antithetical to our interests. For example, many Nigerians come here only for their benefit. They're not even trying to benefit their own people back at home, right? They see that there's issues with Boko Haram and other shit going on. They don't come over here, stack up a sack, and then head back and do the work over there to better their nation. No, they're here to take advantage of the fact that they got brown skin enough, but white people aren't as afraid of them, don't have any history with them. And so they jump in, then they get the spots that were meant for us and things like that, and then they lord it over us. So you actually have some African groups that will come here and be antithetical to our interests.
Well,
that's a problem.
Let me add very quickly. The reason why you have these issues. I was on a panel on Brother Dynas Search for Huru's channel. Shout out to him. and I was on there debating, or I hate to debate, but I was on there, got into a discussion with some of the brothers that were on the panel, and there was a brother that was clearly, I could tell he was from the continent. And I kept telling them that part of the problem is that they don't understand us and we don't understand them necessarily. And this is why I say this. Most people who grow up in the continent of Africa, whether it be Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, these various countries, they don't grow up learning the history of black people in America. That's not what they're taught. So they don't have any knowledge of they don't have any true knowledge of our plight, our circumstances. And in some cases, because of
why then are we hold on a second, brother, because this is a good point that you bring up.
Mm-hmm.
That actually is not, though, it's an indictment upon them.
Right.
Because how is it that you and I, who live in America, I have never been to Africa, brother. More it's the pity. I think, Africa, like any other continent on the planet, is a place I would always love to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been to Africa. Yet I know that there are 54 different nations in Africa. I can name pretty much all of them. I know something about the people in those nations, the different tribal groups, the different languages, their history, and so on and so forth. I was never ordered to buy America to learn about Africa. I always was told that because I got the same skin color as they are, that we somehow have common interests. And so I took it upon myself to understand, various nations' histories, their struggles, their trials, the colonialism, imperialism, and all this other shit, right? Yet they are in essentially free nations where they predominate. No one is.
But this is the
over in their nations.
But this is the difference, though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
This is the difference, though, Brother Black. The difference is that we may think that it is their nation, but because of colonialism, imperialism, and all of it, you have folks in Africa who don't even have an African mindset. They've been culturally conditioned. In some cases, some of them haven't even learned their history because the schools are pushing the Eurocentric history in the school. They're not pushing our history. So some of them don't have their mindsets because of the school systems, the systems of how they run things there. So you're actually
why
right.
Is it the same standard? Why isn't the same standard applied to them then that is applied to us?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you why. Despite the colonialism and all that they've gone through, they actually live in a place and on soil that they were born on. That is true. They speak their own language, their own customs. They weren't ripped from the continent and brought over here like we were, and beaten and oppressed in the sense that we are. When you see black people striving to want to be Pan-African and black people taking an interest in Africa is because, let's be honest, we have also lost our minds. We're trying to find who we are. We're trying to find an identity because we've been told all our life, well, black people came over here on a ship, were slaves, we was on a plantation, and now we're here today. And so you got black people trying to seek who we are because we are the people.
I would agree with you.
Who were brought over.
100%.
I don't think Africans.
And therein lies the problem.
Right. I don't think and I'm going to come right back to you. I don't think the African brothers and sisters in the continent are trying to, they didn't grow up trying to figure out who they are. They pretty much know I'm a part of this tribe. I'm from Nigeria. I'm from here. This is the clothes that we wear. This is the food. They know their culture. Black people, our culture is how we've grown up in America. The food that we eat in America, the way we dress in America, the music we listen to, the things that we do in America. But then you got some of us that are saying, well, wait a minute. I come from a place my ancestors called Africa. I want to identify with this country because America has treated me so poorly. Then you got Africans who are trying to come to America because they're living in a situation that's ratchet for them. So they're trying to come over here to get here while we're trying to figure out how to identify with them over there. And then they come over here, those that grow up with privilege come over here that think they're better than us, that will go to our schools like Morehouse and Spelman, and they will benefit. And when I was on the panel on Dinah's channel, I had an African brother on there arguing, talking about he didn't get any benefit from black people. I said, what are you talking about? Your ass wouldn't be able to go to school in this country if it wasn't for black people in America who marched and fought to get access to being able to go to school. And because we got access to equal rights and all these provisions that you see when you apply for a job, when people from other countries come here, they're benefiting from the legacy and the heart, blood, and sweat of black people in America who have laid the groundwork. But a lot of times they come over here and they feel like, well, I don't owe you black Americans anything. I had this sucker even say to me, what have black people created? And I said to him, what have Africans created in the continent? You got the damn Chinese running ruckshot over you. You got colonialism that's taking over your country. What have you built? Where are your universities? I mean, don't tell me about the pyramids of 1,000 years ago. I'm talking about right now. What have you built? What are your institutions? Because if you got them, you wouldn't be leaving there to come here to go to our schools. And then you get upset with us when we say, hey, give us a little goddamn respect. Matter of fact, a lot of people didn't start coming over here from over there until like during the 80s and all of that. Black people were over here catching hell during the 60s, 50s, and 40s. And we made these goddamn streets safe for some of these folks to now come over here and move into, look, somebody from the continent that comes to this country, gets an education and moves into a nice neighborhood, for example. Why do you think they're able to do that? Because there was a time when, as a black man, you couldn't live in any neighborhood you wanted to live in. And they don't understand that because they don't know our history. And then we don't know their history like we think we do. So then we project our issues on them and they project their issues on us. It's countertransference.
I think personally at this point, because by the way, fam, you said a word and you preached it to the choir. I firmly believe that I'm not going to ask other diasporans or people from the continent to respect us here in the United States. I demand that. Mm-hmm. My people have put in the motherfucking work. Nobody else. And you gonna respect that or you can get the fuck out. I don't care. I don't care if I offend you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Here's the thing to note. You brought up something, brother, that I think is the problem.
Okay.
We have this romanticized idea of what Africa truly is, right? And then they come here to get the bag, essentially, right? To get a come up. You can't fault them for that. The door's open. They got the opportunity to do it. We help them to get the opportunity to do it. So
Let me just say this real quick. You're absolutely right. Black people in America tend to go to Africa for a cultural exchange, to go see where we come from, to have some identity. Most Africans that come to America, they're coming over here to get the bag, to go to school, get the education, so on and so forth. They're not coming over here to say, let me get a cultural exchange with black people in America. Go ahead.
But here's the problem, Brother Clifton. The problem is that we got the game fucked up as Black Americans.
Okay.
I am not African. Sure, did I have ancestors that came from the continent of Africa in the slave trade? Yes, of course I did. But hell, if you go far enough back, according to science, everybody comes from Africa. Humanity comes from Africa, right? Okay, right. So in that sense, I guess you could say that everybody's African. But we don't do that, do we? No. There is nothing wrong with the fact that I can trace my ancestry back to the plantations. There is nothing wrong with the fact that my ancestry were enslaved here in the United States. There is nothing wrong. I'm not a lost child who doesn't have a culture, who doesn't have a heritage, who doesn't have a lineage. My culture, my heritage, my lineage is here in the United States of motherfucking America. I am not an African. Now, can I have common interests with Africans? Of course I can. But it won't be because of some 500-year-old tie that was broken, not by my people, but by the motherfuckers who made sure that my people got on those boats and brought over here, right? I'm not going to feel a connection or try to go over there and look for something when I can go right to my hometown of Kansas City, go out to Forest Hill Cemetery and see all the connection I need to see. Because that's where my ancestors is buried. That's where the ones who gave me life and a purpose are buried.
But,
I'm not a lost child. I don't
Right.
need to go searching for Africa to get something I already got.
Well, let me just say this. Golden Melanin said they know far more about who they are than what we do. That's my whole point. And she also made a point saying that they have a European, some of them have a European mindset. I agree that there are some that
So
do
how
have.
Brother Clifton, how are we supposed to address the coons over in Africa when we still dealing with coons over here? Let's just keep it a buck. My mother always told me charity starts at home.
And
right?
that was that.
Why am I
Go ahead.
supposed to embrace a philosophy that means that I have to try to address not just the coons and the fuckery and the buck dancing and the bullshit that I have to face from people that look like me here in the United States?
Right.
But I'm also supposed to be able to somehow account for the buck dancing, the coonery, the Negro peeing attitudes of somebody from a continent I ain't never even been to.
Right.
Make that make sense?
Yeah. Let me bring this up too. What I'm trying to simply say is, in a nutshell, there is a lack of understanding of our background. We have a lack of understanding of their background, and so therefore it creates what? A division. And I said this, this is how the system is designed. They want to divide and conquer us, and how they do that is you cut off the communication, you cut off the understanding. And that's part of the problem. That's why when you see most people who come here from other countries, and it really disappoints me, especially when you look at your East Africans and various folks like that, they come here and they don't readily associate with us. They stay within their group. They are very group think. This is the problem with black people in America. Whether people like it or not in the chat room or listening, I really don't care. The problem with black people in America is that we trying to love everybody. We trying to be rainbow bright. We trying to be with everybody. Let's be one big old MTV. We're trying to love everybody. We're too busy trying to get other groups. As I said before, we keep trying to get other people to like us, and not, instead of us realizing that other groups of people come to this country, they don't give a damn about us. They're coming over here to get something, education, get the bag, get a business, and whatever. They don't give a damn about us in the way that we spend too much time thinking about other groups and wondering why they don't like us. I'm so past trying to get other people to like me. God damn it, I don't care. You're going to respect me, God damn it, because I'm going to do what I got to do. But I don't need you to necessarily like me, love me. I don't need you. I mean, look, man, let's just keep it 100% real. People love our music. They'll play our jazz, our hip hop, our R&B. They'll even use it, steal it, rob it, everything. They'll eat our food. They'll go to soul food restaurants. Oh, I just love soul food. They'll do all of that. It don't mean they love you.
That's facts. That's pure 100% purity facts. And to be quite honest, it's like I said, man, you know what I'm saying? And remember the old Billie Holiday song, Mama may have, Papa may have, but God blesses the child that got his own. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some point in this whole so-called Pan-African journey of ours.
Right.
That we understand that at some point, it don't matter what the fuck Africa or the Caribbean or any other diasporan groups do. We have to be about what's best for us. Period, point blank, the goddamn end. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would love to be able.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, fam.
No, I just want to say
I was just gonna say. I would love to see a connection. I would love to see a connection between between us and Africa one day. I would love to see that. I really would. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that there should be a connection, but the problem is, to have a connection, you have to have an understanding and a respect for one another's culture. And You can't have that unless
But
there's
here's, you know,
these
if
people
you
understand.
notice,
Go ahead.
if you notice though, Brother Clifton, the problem though in that particular respect is not us here in America, right? We actually, like you said before, we actually have incentive, right, to engage with the motherland, whether it's through our mistaken belief that, you know, somehow or another we're going to find a connection with a people we don't have, or whatever
Right.
the case may be. Like, Black people in America already are incentivized
Well,
to
look,
have that connection.
look, you can look at the Black Panther movie. The reason why Black Panther was so successful is because Black people were trying to identify with the African culture. You got Black folks that went to the movie theaters wearing outfits, putting up the symbol of Wakanda, which doesn't exist, by the way, folks. But anyway, we got excited about that. We're always trying to identify ourselves. As much as people want to say that we hate Africa, you know, there's those of us who have a hatred or don't understand it because we grew up on them damn Tarzan movies. But there's a lot of Black people in America that are trying to identify it. Why you think we're wearing the damn the cloth and the clothing? Now we got somebody else that's on the line
But
with us,
see,
brother.
you see that. I won't say that you see that as a net positive, because I don't think you do.
No, that's not what I'm
But
saying.
I
I'm
wonder
just-
if you see it. Because I wonder if you. Okay, so Brother Clifton, here's my thing, right? I get that we as a people are trying to build connections, create connections. That's the most human thing that we can do,
right.
right? It makes perfect sense. I think that the problem comes in, and again, hate to be the dude that keeps harping on the same shit, but I think the problem comes in that we are acting or believing as if what we already are and have isn't an adequate connection, right? In other words, the reason why we're looking to Africa is because we don't accept the tie to the land that we already exist within. If we were to go to Africa, for example, right, pick a country, it doesn't matter, right? And I'm not going to say no ill shit about that country. But what I will say is this: no matter how long you be in that country as a Black American, you can learn to speak their language. You can participate in their rituals and celebrations and festivals, right? You can work hard, build business, create jobs. You can be the model citizen. Okay? You with me so far?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, Brother Clifton, it won't matter. You still are not them. And we cannot have a relationship with a place that's one-sided. In other words, I see Black people in the United States making a whole heap ton of efforts towards Africa, right? We were all behind the BDS movement to end apartheid in South Africa. I grew up during the 90s, fam. Cross colors, Africa pendants, you know what I'm saying? Back to the motherland, to the east, backwards. Like, we were all in for our connection to Africa, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying? You go to Africa, and it's like they act like they don't even know you.
Well, let me
They
say,
love your money.
let me say this. There are obviously people in the continent that do love us, and then there's people in the continent that see us as a big fat wallet. Earlier, I think Ghana was doing this vacation package where they were bringing Black people over. And it looked to me like they were going for the bag on Black people from America when you look at what they were charging. And then you find out that they're charging Black people more than they're charging other people. You know what I mean? There's double charges because we're from America. So you can't have that sort of thing going on where you travel to these places and then they try to get you for your money on a package they raise the prices up by at the same time saying, come back home to your motherland. And then you're grabbing a bag on it at the same time. Let me do this.
Ghana got $1.9 billion
Right.
out of us last year.
Yeah, that's what.
Year of return shit.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to touch on. You actually helped me there. That's exactly what I wanted to touch on. But before you go on, do we have someone else on the line? Do we have someone else on the line? Name?
All in.
Okay, is this back to the basics?
Yes.
Okay.
Why y'all gotta mess me up on a Saturday?
I'm
Peace,
sorry.
sister, peace.
Peace.
How you doing? No, it's all good.
Before I
Hold on,
switch
let me
the
back.
topic to something else real quick, because brother George Frazier brought up a good statement in the chat room earlier where he talked about that Gen Xers dropped the ball on the Generation Z, millennials, while baby boomers failed us. And I personally do think that baby boomers did fail us a hell of a lot. They didn't leave us any foundation. They didn't leave us infrastructure. Okay. Most cultures from generation to generation, they leave their children something, some physical infrastructure. We have actually failed in a lot of ways, black people in America, with passing down. And I know it goes back to a lack of generational wealth. I get that. But let me just leave that alone for right now. But what did you want to bring up, sister?
Y'all brought up so much. I was gonna say there was a lot of good discussion about cleaning house as far as within our own community and about just understanding our own culture. And then you guys brought up the year of return, and I'm like, gee. Yeah, they did make a lot of money off of that as far as Ghana. What the catch-22 with that was, shoot, in order to get permanent residency, you got to live over there like 10 years. So
right.
You got people who, I can't remember the ones.
Well, let me bring this up. Remember, there was a sister that moved over to Ghana. She had money. She went over there. She brought land, and she ended up getting killed because people were jealous of the land and the property that she had. And she got into a little bit of a situation there, and she ended up not being with us anymore. See, that's the thing. When you go,
Yeah,
this is the thing.
right.
This is the thing, brother Black. When black people talk about moving to other countries, oh, I'm going to Brazil, I'm gonna get the women, I'm gonna do this. You gotta take into account a couple of things. One, you're not from that culture. You don't understand the culture. Two, where is your protection? Where is your who's gonna believe what you got to say? You're gonna always be seen as an outsider, a foreigner, right? So when we go traveling in these kind of places, we have to think about the fact that we're actually what ground do we have to stand on in these countries when you got people and their police systems are not like what we have over here, even though we got police brutality in America. For them to be able to get on that woman's land and do what they did and take her land or take her life over land. Those are the risks that are involved when you move to other countries as a black person from America that you gotta take into account.
You know what, Brother Clifton? If nothing else says to us as black people that Africa is not ours, that does. Right? What's the difference between us moving to Ghana and having our land seized because somebody comes and they jealous, may want it, and they kill us with no repercussions, and us staying here in the United States? What's the difference between us going to Ghana and spending money to go see, Gorea Island and all this and that and the third, where they shipped our ancestors in this, that, and the third, and us going to visit plantations here in the United States? Right? What's the difference? Like, I get the whole Pan-African argument. If we were talking about, there were overtures from them and overtures from us, and we were having a meeting of the minds, but Haiti is a black nation right here in the Western Hemisphere and can't even get membership in the African Union.
Well, let me bring this up. If
nothing else tells you that
right.
This whole idea is at best premature and at worst deleterious for us right now. I don't know what else does.
Let me bring this up too as well. A lot of times black people, when they move outside of the country because of, how things are here in America, they say, hey, I'm fed up, I'm moving to another country, like a country in the continent of Africa. A lot of black people don't realize sometimes that okay, as bad as things can be in America, a person just can't come out of nowhere and say, I'm taking your land just like that.
Not today, and that's because we fought and bled and died for that.
This is the thing that bothers me, though. You've got Asians that are going to Africa, setting up shop, impregnating the women as well, opening up businesses and building infrastructure. Europeans have come over there and done what they've done. And I know that people are saying that black people should get over there and invest in the continent, open up businesses. I get that, invest. I even got a video on my YouTube channel that I did when I first started YouTubing about how you have black people moving to places like Ghana, and that maybe for them, it's a business transaction for them. Same thing I'm saying today. Maybe they want to leave America because they don't like the racism in America and what have you. So I get that. There are people that have moved there that love it. That are enjoying it. It's been good for them. And then there are some people that it hasn't been so good for them, where there's things that they're running up against. I mean, I hear too often when people say they go to the market, if you are American, they tell you you should have someone from the country with you when you go to the market because they may overcharge you for your goods and services when they realize, oh, you are American. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's facts.
So the question is,
That's
for those
facts.
of us,
What do I think about that?
Yeah, what do you think?
To be honest, I don't. It doesn't surprise me. Like, that's the thing, right? If I see my brother Clifton, and I say, brother, what's good, fam? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you hungry? Come on, got you, right? Oh, you just got in the town? Shit, you staying? Oh man, look, hey, they hiring down there where I work at. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I'm gonna plug you, right? Why? Because we people.
Right. Let me
I
answer.
can't unite with a people that don't see me as
Right.
their people.
Right. Let me just say.
I'm sorry, but our relationship has been one-sided. It doesn't mesh.
Right. Let me just say this to try it, buy it, and make it and sell it. She says, no, they take your land here underhandedly. Yeah, I mean, black people have had land taken from them through trickery, what have you. That's true. But that is historical true. But I'm saying today, nowadays, when have you seen what I'm saying to you is that a black woman goes to Ghana. She gets citizenship because the Ghanaian government says we welcome arms to our brothers and sisters from America. She buys land. She's given the right to buy land because she has citizenship. She lives there. You have a group of other brothers and sisters that live there, that are born there, that look at her as an outsider, not as a sister. I'm just keeping it real. And because don't like the fact that she's got some land and what have you, they're able to not only take it from her, but they end up killing her. And guess what? Because you're in a foreign country.
They killed her and her sister, brother.
Right, killed her and her sister.
They killed that sister and her sister.
But this is the big part of where I'm going with this. They were able to do that to her, and there was no police. There was no Ghanaian police to say, we got to make this black family that came from America whole. We got to make sure that this land stays there was no police. There was no system over there that's designed to protect this woman who came to Africa for cultural exchange, to buy land, to set up shop there, right? Where was the protection for that black woman in Ghana? There was none. Why? Because she's not technically from the culture. They saw her technically as a outsider, but they had no problem taking her money to buy the property. But after her property gets taken and stolen and she gets killed, where was the police protection? Where was the protection of the country who told her you are a citizen? You get where I'm going here?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, Sam, if you looked, you could find example after example after example that supports one simple idea. And that is that at the end of the day, we as Black folk here in the United States are all we got. Our greatest master teachers, right? The ones that we esteem and hold in the highest of esteem, like John Henry Clark and others, to make that clear to us. They say, yeah, Africa, learn about it, because Black people in America have the right to learn about whatever the fuck we feel like we want to learn about. We're not in these shithole countries where we have to be fearful and worried about what somebody else is talking about, and this, that, and the third, right? We don't have to be afraid of none of that. You know what I mean? But to depend on that, as some saving grace, as something that is going to ultimately help us as a collective, is a lost cause. The only ones who are ultimately going to see to our interests, because we don't have no permanent friends, no permanent alliances,
Right.
just permanent interests.
Right.
The only ones who are going to see after our interests is us.
Right.
Period. The end. That's it.
Now, let me just say
That
this
is
too.
absolutely it.
Let me say this too. Let me say this too. That does not mean that we don't have brothers and sisters in the continent that don't ride with us. There are some that ride with us, that ride and die with us, but there are some who may not ride with us. There's a notion that if you leave America, that somehow you leave behind racism, you leave behind all the oppressive things. Not so true, because as you know, you've got the Chinese over in the continent, you got Europeans over there, and look at what the Chinese are doing to the Africans. They're telling them, get the hell out of our country. You can't eat at our McDonald's. You can't eat in our restaurants. You got the COVID-19. Get your ass out of here. Then the Chinese go to the continent, and the Africans, the leaders over there, are treating them like gold and honey. Okay, do you see now? Check this out. See, this is when you know that people are on one accord. Why are the African leaders in Nigeria and Ghana, who are now seeing that their citizens are being kicked out of China? Why haven't those governments, and if they are, I stand corrected, why don't they tell the Chinese in Nigeria and Ghana to get the hell out, since you trying to make our people get the hell out of your country? Now, how you like that? How about that one, folks? How about that one, Brother Black?
I preach.
That's what you call having unity and being one. The same thing that Black people should be doing in America. If one of us are being treated poorly, for example, another example, when the Koreans treat Black women and Black people like shit when we go into the store to buy the hair products, Black people across America should be telling the Koreans, get the hell out of the hair business. And if they don't get out, guess how we get them out? Don't support their stores. And if you do that, you'll drive them out. Guess what's happening under COVID-19? Because they can't make any money, they're having financial problems. They're going to need a small business loan from the government because they're not getting our money anymore. It's drying up on their asses. So we should be applying the same thing that I just said about the Africans in the continent. We should be applying the same goddamn methodology to how Black people move and operate in America. I ain't just talking about our brothers and sisters over in the continent. We got to look at ourselves in America and apply the same goddamn methodology. But I don't think that we're ready to do that, or Brother Black.
No, I agree with you 1,010%. Like, there's no motherfucking way that that we are ready for that as a people. And because of that, you know what I'm saying, we're going to find ourselves in a place where we have some hard choices we got to make. And until we make those choices, you know, it is what it is, right? Like, I think, like I said, I worry about my tribe. I worry about my people at this particular point. I don't give a fuck about making white folks happy, Africans happy, other diasporan folk happy, Asians happy, Latinos. I don't give a fuck about none of them. None.
Now, Brother Black, now
Yeah.
Now I'm going to
So-
put this on your doorstep right now. And one thing about me, folks, and everybody listening who have subscribed to my channel, I'm going to tell the truth. You can unsubscribe if you want. I don't care, because I'm going to tell the truth. That's what my channel's about. It is what it is. You get what you see is what you get. Now, this is the thing that I'm sick of. I'm tired of people, black people do this, all groups of people do this. I'm tired of people saying people of color. You should never do that, because when you use the term people of color, you lump everybody in under the guise and the tent of our oppression. You can't do that. You can't say, well, people of color are, no, wait a minute. Some of us are catching more hell than others. So, for example, if black people are catching hell from the coronavirus 19, then you got to say black people. When you start putting everybody under that dragnet, now you're saying that everybody is going through the same things that we deal with. That's not true. So, because the last time I checked, I don't hear other groups of people being discriminated against and profiled because they're wearing a mask on their face for COVID-19. But I do see black people being treated in this manner. So what I'm saying to you, Brother Black, when there's issues that are affecting black people, we need black people to identify it as this is what's happening to black people, and stop getting into this whole thing about, well, people of color, because when you say people of color, you're saying that all other people are getting treated the same way as us. And that ain't true. That just ain't true. Now, is there somebody else on the line?
Brother Clifton, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to fall back here pretty soon, fam. So, if you want to make a final thing or final statement or whatever, and again, I hope that I'm welcome to come back.
No, you're welcome.
I would love to dialogue with you and the family anytime.
Right.
So,
No, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. I'm at your disposal. You're welcome anytime, brother. We have to do this again. I personally believe the reason why they were messing with your voice through the streaming is because YouTube don't want this type of information. They don't want us talking about something of value. They would rather you talk about
absolutely.
How to get women and how to, put your Stacey Adams on.
Yeah, all that old mess. Like, I don't care about none of that mess, right? Like, I want to talk to my people about building communities, about making our tribe have the birthright our ancestors lived, breathed, and died to have. That's the only thing I care about at this point. I care about justice. I care about restoration, remediation, and repair of my tribe.
Right.
Fuck everybody else.
Right. Now, look. Now, I know people are going to take what you say very harshly, but this is the truth. I said it before. Other people take care of their culture. Asians, Latinos, Spanish, Italians, Japanese, Samoans. I'm naming the rainbow bright right here. All groups of people, Arabs, they all do for themselves. You don't often hear them including us in their discussions. When there's something happening to them, they specifically talk about what is best for them. Black people are the only group of people that are expected to be inclusive with everybody into our issues, but everybody don't make us inclusive with them. And another thing I want to say to people listening to, when you see celebrities getting citizenship in places like Ghana, they're getting citizenship because A, they're a celebrity, B, they got money.
Yep.
And 3, they're used as marketing to get our black asses to go over there and follow suit behind them. Brother, thank you for being here, Brother Black.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
It was my honor. It was my pleasure. Peace to my people. Peace to my tribe. Justice is ours. It's our birthright. Stand with your ancestors. Fight for it. We will have what we fight for. And I love y'all. Peace.
Peace to you. Let me say, if somebody else is on the line, stay right there. I'm going to come to you. Shanita, Sister Williams, the beautiful Sister Williams, thank you for being here. I have been derelict in getting over to your channel like I should. You will see me on your channel You will see me over there when you go live. But let me say to you right now, thank you for coming over. It's great to see your smile. You have a beautiful avatar. Everybody in the chat room, check out her channel, subscribe. She has a warm personality, friendly personality, beautiful person. And you'll see me back over there. This is the thing that YouTube has done to us that I think is unfortunate. They don't allow you to click people's avatars and readily subscribe to their channel. That's a dirty little thing that YouTube has just done to us. So to subscribe to people's channel, you got to cut and paste their name or write their names down so that you can go back into YouTube and find their channels. I think that that is horrible what they have done. I think it's a horrible thing, but I know it's the game that they also play. So thank you. Who's on the line before I end the program today? Is anybody on the line?
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings to you.
Sorry.
Okay, so we got back to the basics. You're still on, right?
I'm still here. I'm going to let her
Okay.
talk.
And then the sister, the person that I have on now who said peace and blessings, who am I talking to?
This is Golden Melanin.
Oh, yes, Golden Melanin. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What are your thoughts, sister? Let it rip, and then we're going to go between both of you and sister back to the basics. Go, speak your mind.
Well, I just want to briefly say that in regards to these business loans that these Koreans are going to get, they're going to get their loan, they're going to open back up, and it's going to be business as usual, meaning they're going to continue to have the same mindset towards us. What we need to do is we need to come together and open our own businesses so we don't have to go right back into the same cesspool. Why do you want to keep dealing with the people that show you over and over again that they have no respect or love for you? Even though this is a crisis, they say strike while the iron is hot. This is a time where we can come together and start building our own. They're going to give this money or what have you. This is not the time to go and buy Air Jordans. Mm-hmm. You need to figure out, you need to sit and listen to people who know, not even figure it out, but talk to people who know about finances and pull together and don't allow yourself to go back into the same dysfunctional habit that you were in prior to this crisis, which is going back to these businesses who do a wonderful job at showing how they love themselves. They love their people, but we don't love our people. And there's a problem when we attempt to love our people. But so what? We have to love one another regardless. We have to support one another.
Well,
love is an action word.
Let me ask you both this question since I have sisters on here right now. Why do we have this mindset? What is the mindset of sisters out here who would run back to these stores? I think that this Corona-19 has given Black people, unfortunately, there are those of us that are dying, and I'm very unfortunate. But on the flip side of that unfortunate part of it, and I must say, and love and respect and prayers go out to people out there who have lost their family members. Isn't there an opportunity that Black women in particular, because there are actually more Black women who are in small business than Black men, that you know that? Isn't this an opportunity that we could take advantage of using this to say, let's be more independent? Because look, people are suffering economically without us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, it's a prime example of what many leaders have been trying to get through our thick skulls prior to this crisis. And we pull back our dollar, they're going to listen to us, and they're going to do what we ask them to do, not what they want to give us. Mm-hmm. But we have to, it starts a lot with the self-hate that we have, and it's subconscious. And that's why we have to get our mindset reprogrammed. We have to get deprogrammed first, get rid of all the falsehoods and lies that they told us, and then be reprogrammed with our true identity and apply the things that we learn. Mm-hmm. But what they say, insanity is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result.
Right. Let me
But
remind.
it's going to start. It's going to start in the mindset.
Right.
The mindset has to be changed.
Let me say what's up to family vlogs out there. If you want to call in, it is a conference call, so you can have more than one person on the panel. We have Back to the Basics and Golden Melanin in on the line right now. Back to the Basics, if you're still there, what do you think about some of what we've just said here? Isn't this an opportunity for Black people to get our ducks in a row and reevaluate where we're putting our money? What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I agree with what Gold Melanin said wholeheartedly. We should just go for it. Shoot, I ain't never ordered so many books in my life. So, I mean, I'm already an affiliate of a company. I just haven't dropped my link.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm about to restart everything. I'm going through a complete change over here. So I'm not waiting for anybody.
Okay. But this is the
Not
unfortunate
waiting for
part.
nobody.
This is the unfortunate
that's
part
right.
of what she just said, though, what Sister Golden had stated, that she thinks that it's going to be, well, let me not, she's saying that she would not be surprised if everything goes back to status quo and everything opens up, and once again, Black folks are lined up to go into these places and give their dollar to people who, by the way, has shown through news clips, news articles, videos that we've seen with our own eyes that they don't like us.
Yeah, they hate us. But yet, you know, everybody wants to be Black until, shoot. People got to go to jail.
Tell me about it.
Brother Gregory.
Black then.
Right. Brother Gregory Watts, thanks for the super chat, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
I really appreciate that. And thank you for coming by and supporting the channel. So, I mean, I find it very problematic. And I'm really feeling angry because we're seeing, or we're hearing, or we're being told that Black people are dying of the COVID-19. We're hearing and seeing that there are Black people that are being treated different because we have a mask on. Now, I know the reasons why, but it still doesn't change my frustration. It still doesn't change the fact that I'm sick of this type of shit, and we got to do something about it. What we can is up to everyone's opinions, but it also speaks to the fact that we don't live in a country that loves us. And if we don't get that to our thick skull, we're going to, I mean, we should have learned a lesson during Katrina. You saw how they treated Black folks during Katrina, left us out there for debt.
Exactly.
And you know what? That's why what she said is the truth, because what did we do? We went right back to status quo right after they said that New Orleans is open for business again.
Unfortunately. So we really got to get it together.
We do. We really do.
Well,
We really do. And it's going to start with people. It's going to start with those of us who are going to be willing to take a baby step at least. The thing is, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will never happen if someone don't get started. We need to get started.
Oh, let me read what the brother said, Brother Watt. He said, buy paper products from Freedom Paper Company. Yeah, there are companies that are Black owned, and there's even a water company out there that's Black owned that sells water, toilet paper, etc. A Black owned company. This would be my suggestion to everybody. Take your smartphones out if you're not sure, and just Google Black owned companies that make water, toilet paper, whatever. And instead of giving Amazon your money and ordering, or order something from a Black owned company, like buy some water, buy a case of water or two, or buy a case or two, if you can't afford that, of the toilet paper. He's absolutely right. Let me say again, thank you for the super
Right.
chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
And Black Broadcast, Outkast Media, Black Outkast Media Broadcasting has super chatted me as well. And he says, support your Black voices. We can't speak if we can't speak. Peace to my tribe. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
And let me, who else do we have in here? We've got, oh my God, who is, I don't want to say that. I don't like that. I smell like, no, I'm not. Is this a troll? I just don't like it's true. That's a hell of a name. I just don't want to, I don't want to say that name.
Wow.
I don't want to say, no disrespect. I hope if the person's not a troll,
Okay.
and they just have a very outspoken name, so be it. But it's not something I really want to say out loud.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, please, to the mods, please check that out, because I don't like that particular name on the screen. That's why I'm not going to say it. So is it a real person? Is it a troll? The person says it's true.
Mhm.
If that is a troll and he's got watermelon, if that's a troll, get him the hell out of here. Maz, get him the hell out of here. The avatar has even the watermelon. This probably is a troll right here. Get him the hell out of here. Get him the hell out. Don't ever come back to this channel again.
Wow.
Doo-doo brain.
That is roaches.
Yeah, get that person out. Let me take this off the screen, but I wanted people to see this. See this right here? I'm not saying it, but y'all can read it for yourself. And then when you look at the image, it tells you everything you need to know. Get that person out of here. Not going to tolerate it. Get that off the screen. Get them out of here. And
I know that
block them out where they can't ever come back. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah. It's frustrating, but then that means you're doing something right.
Right, it is
Because they don't
frustrating.
come for people who are not about nothing. If you ain't about nothing, they don't waste their time. So you must be, hitting the mark.
Thank you.
I commend you.
Thank you.
I commend you.
We got.
And I'm going to step away from the phone now.
Hey, well, wait a minute.
For taking my call, and I'll still be listening.
But wait a minute before you go away, sister. Let me just tell you this right now. I appreciate you coming over as you have consistently. I'm going to end up modding you up on the channel, but thank you for coming over and giving jewels in the chat room and speaking truth to power. I'm just letting you know I appreciate everybody who comes over to the channel and give me the support that you give me.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you too.
All right.
Peace
All
and
right.
blessings.
Peace and blessing to you. And that is Golden Melanin, beautiful sister who's called into the show. And let me say peace and thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Doo-Doo Brown, 99 cents. What a hell of a name, Doo-Doo Brown. And then you got these shades with the... I mean, people come up with some creative stuff, but and Doodle Brown is not a troll because they've been in the chat room. It's not a troll, but the other individual that I did not name, that was a troll, 100%. Cornbread on that.
You have like 3 moderators kick them out.
I don't think Doodoo Brown is a troll. Doodoo Brown hasn't said anything shady all throughout the broadcast, and I've been on for 2 hours and 38 minutes. I wasn't planning to be on this long. I think it's better to shorten your, for watch time and all of that, but I think it's better to shorten your live streams because people just not going to watch that much. They're not going to take that much time out of their time of their life. So I really wanted to keep my live streams to maybe an hour and a half at the very most, if even that. But do you have anything else you want to add, sister, back to basics?
No, because I'm long-winded and you've already been on 2 hours. And
No. Well, I mean,
said everything
look,
that I needed to say.
I know that people are going to watch this as much as they can watch it. Some people are going to be brave and watch it all the way through. In the beginning, when I had Brother Black on, we were having some audio problems where his audio kept going out. I noticed every time he would talk, his audio would go out, not necessarily mine. What is your thought about that?
Oh, YouTube is trolling, because I notice whenever I get up on panels, I know they're watching me, so I don't, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Shoot, the people, they've been watching me since like before I got out of high school. I woke up a little bit whenever I was 17. I was like, oh, they watching me, and then I went back to sleep. But anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, they don't want anybody that's speaking the truth to say anything. They don't want the truth to get out. So
Okay.
yeah, they're trolling.
Let me tell everybody this. I'm gonna end the broadcast, but I'm gonna come back tomorrow. I got a treat for you all. I'm thinking about whether I should go on my other channel. I haven't been on there in a while. I got a treat for you. There is a black man. I should hold this. Some of y'all may know about this and may not know about this. It's very explosive. There's a black man who's well known. He has a medical supply company. And I'm about to tell y'all something that's going to blow y'all away. But I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to do the video. I'll probably go live and do the video about it either tomorrow. And I'll do it on this channel since this channel is my bigger channel. And I'm just going to leave it at that. There's a black man. He's a doctor, well respected, has a supply company that makes protective gear. And I'll leave it at that. And I'll do a live stream about it and definitely will knock your socks off with the information that I'll put down if you don't already know about this. And if you just know about this already, that's okay. I'm gonna bring my perspective to it. What's going on? The wacky world of OTV. Peace, brother. And thank you, Kugent, for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Let's see what brother. I gotta put this brother's thing up here because I want to make sure what he says. I think he super chatted me again. We have nothing but time for constructive conversation. Thank you. There you go, Gregory again.
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate that super chat, brother. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm tomorrow evening time, or maybe in the morning. I'll do this early in the morning. I'm gonna talk about this particular doctor, and it will blow you away. The information that I'm about to lay down. I gave you 3 clues. He's a doctor. He has his own medical supply business. And God knows we need medical supplies due to COVID-19. But when I tell you what happened, it's going to blow you away. If you know about the story already, I'm just going to add my perspective to it. But if you don't, how about y'all do this? Don't go and research it right now. Let me give you the bang for your mind. It tells me that in this world, black people, we only have ourselves. We got no friends. We got plenty of enemies. You got the last word, sister, back to the basis.
Just like you said, all we got is each other.
Once again, we've got no friends. We got plenty of goddamn enemies. But when I do this particular podcast, now I'm thinking about pre-recording this and just making it a premiere where you guys can just watch it without worrying about listening. I might just produce this tonight and release it as a pre-recorded video. I might do that. I may do it that way. But I'm telling you, when I lay the information down, you will say to yourself, this is a goddamn shame. And America's talking about how they need protective gear, PPE. Well, anyway, I've given you enough clues already. Good night, everybody. Have a good time wherever you are in the world, nighttime, daytime, with your family. Be safe. We got the coronavirus. Make sure you get a mask. Like I got this mask or this kind of mask, whatever you can afford to get your hands on. Protect yourself. The coronavirus is real. At this point, I don't give a damn whether it was made in a zoo, made in a lavatory with Dr. Frankenstein. It's here. It's happening. It's having an impact on our community. Peace to everybody. The Great Black Shark has come in. Make sure y'all check out the Great Black Shark's channel. He's got a great channel. You'll be seeing me over there more, Black Shark. Check out Natch Troll. And sister, back to the basics. Are you a content creator? Do you put up content on your channel, or are you doing anything like that?
Oh yeah, I got season 1 and 2, and then season 3 will be running concurrently with season 2.
Okay. Because I think I subscribed to you, and if I haven't, I'm going to definitely do so. Thank you, everybody in there. Check out everybody's channels. You're going to have to, unfortunately, write the names down because YouTube won't allow you to click the avatars anymore when you're in a chat. And that's a damn shame. Let me, before I go.
I did drop a lot of links.
I
did drop a lot of links in the chat.
Okay. What do you think is going on? Why did YouTube do that? Now, I know that they got a new membership thing now where you don't have to have a lot of subscribers, a whole bunch as you did before, to be able to do a membership to your channel. And I'm thinking about doing something like that, but my membership is only going to be like $1, $1.99. I'm not putting up no high prices, come on now. But what do you think is going on? Why would YouTube stop us from being able to click each other's avatars?
Because they don't want people talking. We actually have time to think and analyze what's going on. They don't want people talking. That's why they want to open up the economy back up so soon.
But
because we're doing too much talking.
But as it relates to YouTube, I believe that they don't want us subscribing to each other's channels, because I notice that every time I go to somebody's channel, they got me unsubscribed. And I'm like, I didn't unsubscribe from that person's channel. What the hell is going on here? Like, for example, I had subscribed to the Great Black Sharks channel. Then I can go over there right now and it'll have me as unsubscribed. I know for a fact that there are people that have told me, brother, when do you go live? I said, I go live on the weekends. Well, I never get notifications. See, they're suppressing our channels. They're suppressing the notifications. They are shadow banning us. All sorts of riff-raff things that they're doing. I know. I know. If I was doing a channel where I was talking about black people like a dog and saying doing just all kind of unproductive stuff, YouTube would probably put me at the top of the food chain. And I probably would have 100 to 200 to 300 people listening to me every night, because I would be in here talking all type of trash and keeping up all type of doxing. If I was doxing Cugent or my brother Wacky World, if I was doxing these brothers and talking all type of junkyard trash, if I was talking trash about Knowledge Seeker, what's up to you, Knowledge Seeker? Good to see you here, brother. If I was talking trash to people, I would get all these views and all this vitriol around me. But because I don't do that, then they want to throw me in the garbage can. And even your own people.
Yeah.
Even your own people will throw you in the goddamn garbage can too. I'm talking to you, black people. You'll throw me in the garbage can as well. Because I'm not keeping up a lot of, I'm not talking about the people that's here, because the people that's here, they're here because this is the kind of content that they like. But I'm saying that there's folks out there that will say, well, you pro-black, and this is the funny thing about it. I never defined my channel as pro-black. I simply talk about things that affect black people, yes. But I can talk about a variety of other things, okay? How about the discussions around your health as it relates to understanding your blood pressure? I'm going to do a podcast about that. Understanding your not your blood pressure, I'm sorry, but understanding your blood type. How your blood type can link to the things that you should eat to improve your health. I can talk about all those different things too. So my channel has, if you look at all my videos, it's very eclectic. I could be talking about coronavirus, which I've been talking a lot about that. I can go from coronavirus to something else. So, but these type of channels, they put us in the garbage can. YouTube puts us in the garbage can. It's a damn shame. No, I'm serious. If you're talking something that can actually contribute to people's knowledge or enhance what they already know, YouTube's algorithms will put you in the garbage can. Unless you got a huge channel like Tariq or somebody who's got a, unless you got celebrity status, you used to be a rapper, an actor, some well-known person, and then you then you decide to talk about, black issues. Well, yeah, of course you're going to get a lot of people, because you have this celebrity aura about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough of that. Thank you, sister, for being here. I'll talk to everybody later. Thank you. I'm going to end the show. Let me see. Who is this that's come in here? See who else is this? Okay, is this a troll? Yeah, I received my Bernie Sanders donations back yesterday after an hour on the phone with the campaign. Now, is this a troll right here? Roundup. If Roundup is a troll, get him the hell out of here. Nothing wrong with being pro-black, but they hate it. They want us to stay asleep. That's what Knowledge Seeker just said. Good points. All right, folks, let me get out of here. I've taken up your time enough today. I'll be back with that other video that I was talking about probably tomorrow or Monday or something like that. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.